Now, let's get to her things.
One more thing on that note, Your Honor, please. The car door. Have you addressed that? I have an estimate for that.
Did you bang in his car door?
She kicked it in.
Did you kick in his car door?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was being a jerk like he always is.
Give me the estimate.
Yana, he's making me out to be the bad guy here, like I'm the abusive one. He's always abused me throughout the entire relationship, kicked in apartment doors, car doors, everything. Beat me a few times.
That's not true.
That is true. You are totally lying right now, and you know
then,
it.
Miss LaSavoy,
Beat
listen
you?
to me.
Yes, you have.
Hey.
A few times? Beat you? Even once?
Then you were foolish for sticking around, and you were foolish to go over there 3:30 in the morning to try to get him back. Do you understand?
You're right, and I'm gone
Good.
now.
So, then it's a good lesson. All right, so what is this whole thing? Install labor, tent glass, rear door handle. She did all this damage?
Well, what's listed on there is not the damage. What they have to do when they do an invoice, they have to break it down for everything they have to do in order to fix it and give an actual time quote on how long that takes. She kicked in my door, so what they have to do is they have to break down the time.
Which door? I have front door, rear
My
door.
passenger, which would be the right front door. So what that breaks down is removing the moldings, removing the door handle,
Yeah,
painting
but it says I have a
prepping it.
rear door here, rear upper window molding, rear door handle. What does that have to do
No, I
with the
think it's
front
right.
door?
I think what is
Right rear. I have right rear, right front. Looks like they fixed the whole side of a car, not just one door. Take a look.
If
what it
I can
says.
look at it, I'll tell you.
Sure.
What that is that says refinish and blend, because there's going to be new paint on that one door. It's not an old car, Your Honor. It's a 92 Ford Explorer, and I don't plan to keep it forever. When I go to sell it, they're going to see that that door's been repainted, and I'm not going to get as much money for it. Why do I have to lose that? So what they have to do is they have to blend the paint on the back door, since it's next to it, as well as the paint on the front fender.
All right, let me see it.
It says over here on the second column under labor type, it says refinish and blend.
Okay. Temper. Okay. When could she have all of her property?
As soon as I get my money.
Well, you're going to get your money. $2,573 is what you're going to get. And that gives you $25 to have somebody come in and weed out this cigarette hole. So you're going to get your money. You want to do this exchange within 3 days?
I can't do it within 3 days. I'm
I'd
working.
like it
Why not?
3 days.
Because I'm working, Your Honor.
When can you do it, sir?
To be honest with you, I'm having my house is being remodeled inside right now, and everything is like torn apart.
Money's
so,
tight.
so I can get it by not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend. I'm off that Saturday and Sunday, and I can spend those whole 2 days going through my house, everything that belongs to her.
Okay. Furniture?
There's very minimal furniture. There's a table and some chairs, as well as a mirror and a nightstand. And I think that's it for furniture. The rest of it's appliances.
What kind of appliances?
There's a microwave, coffee grinder, coffee machine, a blender, a toaster oven.
Where are you living now, sir?
I live in Burbank.
Are you living in the house while it's being remodeled?
Yes. But everything that was
in my living room, bedroom, and office and hallway has been pushed into my kitchen. You came and walked in there because I had the hardwood floors refinished. Okay, a week from Saturday. Make arrangements to pick up all your things. Do you understand? Yana, I have a restraining order out on her. She can't come to my house. But I've already said that I'm more than willing to pay for a delivery company to pick everything up from my house. Good. A week from Saturday. Deliver it. Okay. Okay, now? There. What? I would like to go up there with a cop so I can get my things because I don't trust him to give me all my things back. He's going to give you all your things back. I don't believe he will. Just a second. I can't. You have a restraining order. Is that right? He just said that there's a restraining order against you. Is that going to send one of my friends over there? No, he's going to sit. I don't want to create any more difficulty. I assume he does not either if he's gone so far as to get a restraining order against you, Miss Age. Correct. And there is approximately $40,000 in that GoFundMe pay. There was, yeah, for I said approximately, yes, it was. And your daughter is, for want of better word, in charge of that Facebook page, GoFundMe proceeds, correct? And it is your claim that is the next of kin, because he died without a will. You are entitled to some or all of that Facebook page. It doesn't even matter about the GoFundMe funds. I mean, that would be nice in a perfect world. But my daughter took everything from the day my son passed. When they found his body at the river, the coroner gave her the keys to his truck, and she went to his apartment and emptied it. So I didn't get my chance to be Josh's mom for the last time. I didn't get to empty his apartment. I can't cure that matter. No, I can't cure that. And you can't put any sort of a value on anything that your daughter might have taken from that apartment, because you don't know what was there, correct? So I can't help you with that. In a perfect world, maybe she would have gone with you to the apartment, but she didn't, correct? Based upon what I read, you were not there during the search for your son or the discovery of his body, is that correct? I was at home. Okay. And your daughter was there? Yes, she was. And I assume that you were close to your brother. Absolutely close to my brother. Just curious, what prevented you? You were notified that your son was missing. What prevented you from going there? My daughter was at the house the day Josh went missing, and we had my car torn apart. She left after they called her, and I definitely would have hitched a ride, but I didn't have a vehicle. Your Honor, I got... She's just a sec. Did you say she was at your house? Yes, she was. Well, then why didn't you go with her? They didn't call till after she had left, apparently, and rather than come back and get me. You mean she left to go someplace else? She left to go home. Yeah, we were working on my car. She left to go home, and she got a call from Search and Rescue. I hadn't been answering my phone. Oh, well, that's a different story. You hadn't been answering your phone. It wasn't as if nobody called you. No, she didn't call. It wasn't as if nobody called you. Did somebody call you? Right, for Search and Rescue. Yes, somebody called you. Yes. Okay, Mrs. Crane, this is your problem. If your son passed away without a will, and I'm sure that somebody else, maybe a professional has told you that, a legal professional has told you that, if your son passed away without a will, depending upon the laws in your jurisdiction, you, as his parent, might be construed as next of kin, and any property that he owned at the time of his death would transfer to you, right, correct? Yes. He didn't own the GoFundMe page at the time he died. No, he did not. So you don't get it, okay? Any part of it, okay? You're on the paper, you receive funds from the GoFundMe as well. Just the people that set up the GoFundMe page, I assume, were classmates of your brothers. Yes, they were as brother fourth-year medical students that had reached out to me and asked if they could. Don't tell me what they asked you. They set up a GoFundMe page. Do you have the paperwork for the GoFundMe page? I'd like to see it. Okay, so they raised $39,287. Correct. Okay. Is there anything that is in writing that makes you either the beneficiary of the organizer of? Would you do me a favor, look it up underneath the soda? It does say that I am the beneficiary listed on there. Thank you. You're Jessica. I am. Okay, is organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Jessica Crane. That's her. That has changed. Initially it was for Joshua Crane, and with the legal route. Just show me. It's never been for... Show me just a second. It's just Mrs. Crane, yes. It wouldn't make any difference, but I'm willing to look at something that originally it was on behalf of. Right, to somebody else. The reason I'm here today is not because of the GoFundMe. Your Honor, that's exactly why. Shush it here. It's just money. It's shh. Well, for my portion of my deceased son's GoFundMe account, his personal items, including my son's guitars and his vehicle. Correct. Okay, now you're not looking for his GoFundMe account. I never really was, because I never knew the law on GoFundMe. I tried to find out and speak to someone about it and get legal advice, and I could never find anyone. Well, it's very easy. He didn't own this property while he was alive, so you have no title to it. If they said that they're starting a GoFundMe page in the name of your son to be for the benefit of animal rescue, you wouldn't have any control. No, that meant for his funeral costs. Well, just a second, which I also paid. It says, just a second, on behalf of Jessica Crane. Right, on behalf of Jessica Crane.
Is to start a GoFundMe page. I mean, it just would seem to me if they wanted to do a scholarship for him at the school, if they wanted to do something else. This is for those people out there who are watching, who are GoFundMe people. I've seen some of the more ridiculous ones, you know, and there are good-natured people out there who see these things and will donate $5 and $10. Oh, my goodness, they need funeral costs. Well, in this case, there were no issues, and almost all this money, $40,000, is left. What are you going to do with it?
So there's a couple things that I planned on doing with it. It's why the money has been sitting in account.
I just want the people who donated this money to know what you're going to do with it. It's not for you to buy anything for yourself.
Your Honor.
That would be ridiculous. That's not what was in their minds. So I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Your Honor, after all of Josh's expenses were paid for, which I paid for using that money. I am very close with the dean at UC Davis, who is a good friend of my brother's as well, and they have talked about setting up a scholarship fund for my brother, and I was going to donate a portion of that money back if UC Davis decides to set that up on his behalf. And then I also wanted to set up scholarship funds for my sons, who my brother was very close with.
So what you're telling me is you're going to give a little to UC Davis for a scholarship in his name, and you're going to use some for your two sons for their education.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really not what it was intended to do. I'm just telling you, it was not what it was intended to do.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's how GoFundMes are set up. People can set them up for an intended purpose, and they're used for anything.
But I'm just telling the people out there, before you spend money on a GoFundMe page, make sure it's going to go to a place where you want it to go and for the intended purpose you want it, which is to somehow celebrate the life of this young man that was cut short so tragically. And it would seem to me, Miss Crane, you don't have to do anything because they made you the beneficiary of this money. But it would seem to me that a stand-up person would take whatever is left of that and create a scholarship in his name at UC Davis, which is where he went to school. I can't order you to do that, but I'm just telling you, and everybody else out there, make sure if you have a good heart and a good spirit, you know where your money is going. Okay, so you're not entitled to any of the money. Now, did you take your brother's guitars?
I cleared out my brother's entire...
Just a second.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just answer
Yes, Your Honor.
the question. And how many guitars did you take?
3.
Where are they?
They're at my house.
Now, I don't have to do this. Would you like one of your son's guitars?
Very
Would you
much
like
so.
one of your son's guitars? Do you have any of your son's guitars?
None.
Your Honor, my mom has a long history of substance abuse. She's bought gifts for me in the past, and she's pawned them off. And I would like to keep them in my family, so that's where they stay. So that's why I have possession of them, because I don't want them going to a pawn shop.
I was told I could visit one of my son's guitars at her home.
Just a second, do you play guitar?
No. I just want it because it's my son's, and
Well-
I bought 3 of his guitars for him.
None
so
of these guitars were purchased by her. They're very expensive guitars. My brother purchased
I can't
every one
order
of
her to
these
do
guitars.
anything. I'm just asking her whether she would give you one of the guitars. And she said no. The next thing we have here is a vehicle. Now, tell me about the vehicle.
So Josh didn't have a lot. He was a 4th-year medical student. He has a truck, a Toyota, a 2019 Toyota Tacoma, that he still owes about $14,000 on. I have that here, $13,841.76 on. And at the time, his truck was at the boat launch where they found him. So when I met with the sheriffs, they gave me possession of the keys. They found his keys on his body, and they gave me his keys. So we brought the truck up to where we live in Northern California, took the truck up there, and it's been kept in storage until this is all sorted out. I personally wanted to keep the truck. I have the means to finance the truck in my name. I have the means to make a payment. She does not have the means to make a payment. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a driver's license. She can't provide insurance for it. I mean, she has driving...
That's not particularly relevant. There's $14,000 left on it. Are you employed?
I was until
Just
this
to say,
started.
the answer is either yes or no. Are you employed?
No.
All right, how are you going to pay the note on a $14,000 truck?
I plan on returning to work. This incident has taken my job, believe it or not.
Actually, I don't believe it.
Your Honor, I work
Just
3
shh,
jobs.
Just a second. Actually, I don't believe it.
Okay.
So the answer is, if you can't afford to make
can.
the payments on this truck, and the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to be repossessed by the bank. Have you been making payments on the truck?
I have not made a payment.
Who is the finance company?
Credit union.
Where is the truck currently stored? Give me the address. Okay. Sarah, when we finish with this case, call credit union, advise them who has the truck, let them go repossess the truck. We're finished here. Your case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
I had an addiction problem, and she's just angry. She's angry at me, and I've tried to make amends. I've tried to get this better, and she won't have it. My daughter got away with taking absolutely everything, and she wasn't entitled to it.
I think that if there's any lesson to be taken away, aside from the fact that you're not supposed to fight, when you lose somebody so young and so vital, the one innocent party is the credit union who loaned him the money to buy the truck. She's been hiding the truck now for 5 months, hasn't made a payment on it. The right thing to do is for her to turn that truck into the credit union, because I can't control that, except that I can advise the credit union where she is, who she is, that she has possession of the truck, and they should go and repossess it. Anyway, it's all very sad. Before you donate money to a GoFundMe page, make sure you know where the money is going. I think that's the takeaway from this.
Case 2161, Shaheen versus Larry. All parties, please step forward.
Jamal Shaheen is suing his neighbor, Sabrina Larry, for car damage after Sabrina hit his vehicle and a house.
Mr. Shaheen, tell me where you live.
I live in Moorhead, Minnesota.
And on September 8th of this year, you parked your relatively new car that, according to you, you got a week before.
No, Your Honor.
I had just purchased a Sequoia a week before.
No, actually, it's not. It's not the new car. I mean, it's a used car, but I purchased it maybe a year before that, not exactly a week.
Okay. So it's not a new car, and you didn't purchase it a week before?
No.
But you parked it in front of your house. Do you have a photograph of the car?
I do.
I'd like to see it. And it is your claim that the defendant, Miss Larry, while under some sort of influence of some sort of substance, was driving her car, had an accident, hit your car, and caused it to move 25 feet, and it was damaged.
Yes.
And the damage to the car was the rear bumper.
Yep.
Not yep. Yes is the answer.
Yes.
Yes is the answer. Okay. Miss Larry, what time did you have your accident?
9 or 10 a.m.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Where were you coming from?
The grocery store.
Where were you going?
Home.
What kind of drugs had you taken?
I was taking Benadryl, prescription medication. That's all I had. That's what I took. And
Can I see the police report? You remember hitting his car?
no.
You remember the police coming to where your car stopped?
No, I don't remember the police coming.
Well, did the police come?
They did, yes.
And you don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Were you taken to a hospital?
I was.
You have the discharge notes from the hospital?
I do.
I'd like to see it. What kind of narcotics were found inside the vehicle?
It's alleged that it was a...
No, it's not alleged. This is a police report. I'm asking you. What kind of narcotics were found in your car?
They said that they found a round blue pill that had an M30 on it. That's what it stated.
Sarah, do me a favor.
Sure.
Look up under illegal drugs, M30.
So M30s imitate oxycodone obtained from a pharmacy, but when sold on the streets, the pills routinely contain fentanyl.
Look up this name, Percocet. Mm-hmm. You smoke Percocet? How do you smoke Percocet? That's the only thing you remembered. You didn't remember the accident. Patient remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. That's what they say from your doctor.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. The history is provided by the patient. The history is limited by condition of the patient. History is limited because the patient does not remember the actual automobile accident. Remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. You think the doctor made that up? And they just so happened to have found this blue pill in your console in your car?
That's what they are saying.
Okay. You actually know you could have killed yourself. Yeah. Okay. And you don't remember anything about it because that's what you told them. You don't remember anything about anything after you smoked the little blue pill, which is what they said. So your car was moved. That's the damage to your car.
Yep.
So can I see the estimate for the damage, please?
I think
You gave it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have you had the car fixed?
Just a back tail light that I had to put it on. I was trying to fix it, but don't have any money to do it.
Sarah, look up, please, would you?
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, great. Thank you. Oh, it's a 21-year-old car. It's got 226,000 miles on it. How much did you pay for it, sir?
I paid 10.
We're not going to spend 7 to fix it.
But that's how much it costs.
You find somebody to do it less.
Well, now I am without a car.
You're not without a car, sir. You put on the taillight so that you could drive it. This car is not drivable.
That car was dragged. That back axle, it shakes. I can drive it in
Between $2,000 and
highway.
$5,000.
Between $2,000 and $5,000. You paid too much for the car, sir. You don't understand something, sir. Even though she was high on drugs and passed out in her car and you were not at fault, it's not windfall day. If you can buy the car for $2,000, buy an old 22-year-old car for $2,000. She's not paying you $7,000 to fix a $2,000 car. That's ridiculous. And I'm not stupid. Do we understand each other? Now, between
$2,500 and $5,000 based off of a 250,000 mile 2002 Toyota.
So you have to find somebody who's going to fix your car for $3,000, sir. That's $1,000 more than you could buy it for. We're done here. Judgment for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
I would remember if I hit a car, and I didn't.
She ran into my car, run into a garage.
I know exactly what I took, and it definitely wasn't narcotics.
That area that I was living in, it's a really bad area. A lot of drugs are going on over there.
I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed. Like she said, I could be dead.
Just the audacity of some plaintiffs to come in here with an almost 22-year-old car with 275,000 miles on it. And I looked it up, and I even priced it on the positive end, the private party value, not a trade-in and so forth. $7,000 he was comfortable asking the court for a car that's not even worth $7,000.
Yeah, he'll buy.
For a back panel.
Buy a new one. He was lying when I said, how much did you pay for the car? $10,000. That's ridiculous. And he just bought it, he said, a year ago. In the papers, he said he bought it a week before. So either it was a week or a year.
Either way, not worth $7,000.
2162, Newton versus...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Newton, you retained the services of Mr. Estrada to make you a costume.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was, according to your complaint, you make a living as an influencer?
Yes, ma'am. I produce content.
Now, Sarah has actually tried to explain that to me, what that is. And I think the kindergarten version of what she told me was, you are on the internet and your idea is to get as many people to follow the things that you do in your life as possible. And you post on the internet your pictures doing whatever you're doing. And then when you have enough people, advertisers, people who make products, pay you to tout their products one way or another, and that's how you make a living.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Okay. So you don't produce anything. You just being you.
Well, no, but I do own 3 companies, and one of them is a social media advertising company. So it's important to meet and mingle with as many people as possible.
I get that, but it's all to support your primary function.
Yes, ma'am.
As we had a case years and years ago. It was one of my favorites. It was a guy who was being supported by a woman. And quite frankly, I couldn't see what this perfectly delightful, productive woman, what she saw in this guy. But I said, she gives you this, she pays your rent, she pays for your food. What does she get in return? And I'll never forget his answer. He said, she gets a me. So I don't know why that came to mind when you're talking about being an influencer. How does that happen? Anyway, you asked Mr. Estrada to do a costume for you. You like to go to events. I don't have to hear all about it. I sort of understand it a little bit now. You contracted with him to make this costume for you for $1,000. You paid him a $500 deposit. He delivered the costume, albeit he delivered it a little late, but you accepted it, and then you didn't pay him for it because you say it was not made well.
Yes.
And you have the costume now.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. In addition to the costume, you gave him another costume that you wanted him to just put another applique on of something. It was a relatively minor thing.
Glue something.
Whatever. You asked him to do something. It was work. He's not your brother, uncle, father. You're not related to him. That's his business. And when you refused to pay him the balance of the costume that he made for you, he has the other costume, and he says, when you pay me, you can get your costume back. Am I clear?
Yes, but we have talked about creating multiple different costumes in the future, and every single time there was a dollar amount mentioned. This was never discussed. Okay. You discuss it prior, but that was never discussed.
Well, that's true. And whose fault is that?
It was never brought up. But
No. Whose fault is that?
I assume...
No, just a second. If the complaint about the costume that he was just supposed to put an applique on of some sort of a creature, a spider or something. If you gave it to him, and this is his business, then you say, how much is it? So I'm just letting you foment that in your head, sir. When did you order this costume from him for $1,000?
August 7th.
And he delivered it in October.
October 8th, I believe.
And what was wrong with it?
Many, many things.
Just say you have it with you.
I have every single bit of the costume with me.
I'd like to see it.
You like one piece at a time?
No, just a second. That's a boot. What else?
This glove.
Just a second, that's a glove.
Yes.
Okay.
And he actually has plenty of pictures that he sent me in the chat that he was actually making the glove himself. This comes from a costume store from the main movie that this comes from.
Okay,
and it came out in 2005. He sold me a glove that was almost 20 years old, and he said he was making me one.
Okay, keep going.
And this belt right here, I only tried it on once to see how everything fit, and by the time I tried to take the belt off and on, it broke between 20 minutes of use in the house, just testing it out in the mirror.
I just want to see that. I see boots, I see a glove.
There.
Looks perfectly normal to me. And that's put on with Velcro.
Yes.
No big deal. You put on another piece of Velcro. That's a substantial belt. Put it back. What's your next complaint?
Well, number one, not only did
Just a second. I don't want to see the glove anymore. I saw the glove. I saw the boot. I saw the belt.
Well,
Where's the rest of the costume?
Here's the other boot.
Just a second. Hey, where's the rest of the costume?
We don't have a mannequin or something we could put this on? We don't have a mannequin or something we could put this on?
We could put it on him. Put it on him. Ask him to put it on. I want to see what's wrong with it. It's a costume. Put the belt around.
For the record, it doesn't go like
Just
this.
a second. I didn't ask you anything. I just said put it on. No, you have.
It's actually really difficult with this robe on.
Now turn around. Oh, okay. Very good. Now you can take all the show and tell away, and you can take it off.
Your Honor, if I could say something.
You don't have to say anything. I've seen the costume for which he wanted to charge you $1,000.
Well, there's still more.
Yeah, but you don't want to put that on now, because
No,
you don't have to
it's
put
not
that on
something
again.
you have to put on. We're looking at the showmanship. This should be one continuous piece.
Mr. Newton, get a life. Get a life. Get rid of that stuff. Put it over there on that chair. This is not a $25,000 costume. It's a $1,000 costume. If you go into a store to buy any costume, without boots, without leather glove, it's a couple of $100. Not made. And if you don't like the way it was made, don't use the services again. According to what I read, you have lots of costumes.
I have two. The one there and the one that he brought of my possession.
Oh, okay, so you just have two costumes.
Yeah.
Great, now you have two. Now you pay him $500 for the costume that he made for you. That's the balance that you owe him for the costume. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the...
I'm not accepting the costume because it's
Just a
not
second.
up to my...
That's why you're in court, sir. I don't care whether you like it or not. Don't use his services again. He made it. You bought it. Based upon my view of that, it may not be perfect.
I paid for it to be perfect. That's
Just
the
a
reason
second.
why I bought it.
Just a second. I like a lot of things perfect, sir.
There's a
Life
reason
is
why I
not
bought it.
life is not perfect. You're going to pay him for the costume.
I paid for
No,
perfection.
you're going to pay him for the costume. That's it. That's why you're here, for me to make a judgment. If I looked at this thing and didn't think that, for instance, when you sent him those boots, were the soles falling off the boots?
No, there were not.
I didn't think so. That's for my benefit. He's going to pay you the $500 that he owes you for the costume.
The belt wasn't.
And then he bought it.
The belt wasn't falling apart either, but one use, and within 20 minutes of trying it on, and voila.
Just a second, Mr. Newton. I'm done with that. I'm on to the next gig. I'm on to your other costume that he was supposed to put an applique on. You have that costume?
I do.
Very good. Now, I want to tell you something. He didn't send those boots with soles off.
They don't fall off by
Just
themselves.
just a second. No, they don't fall off by themselves.
And I didn't wear it anywhere.
I don't care whether you wore it anywhere, and I know they don't fall off by themselves, and he didn't send them that way. So you figure out, let the people out here figure out what's in my head, how the soles came off both of those shoes.
You can tell me why one piece of the costume has a bigger arm than the other.
Listen to me. I'm not hearing you anymore.
I don't think you're being very fair.
Listen.
Just to be fair. I'm a big fan of you, but I don't think you're very fair right now.
It's not a popularity contest, sir. You bought something. I bought many things. This is not.
Which is why I decided to take this to court.
This is not. You're out. You're gone. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed. Do you want your costume back?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much was it to put the applique on it?
It was $100.
$100. Very good. Judgment on the counterclaim, $600. He gets the costume back.
Yes.
You understand?
Completely.
We're done.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
I paid a pretty penny for something that was just fabric and boots.
I tried to explain how the costume works, and unfortunately, he didn't really listen. He doesn't listen.
It's one of my favorite things of all time. I've always wanted it.
Well, I gave him what he wanted, but when I delivered it, he actually didn't take the time to hear me tell him how the suit goes on.
So what do you think the likelihood is that the defendant shipped those boots with the soles the way we saw them in court today?
0.
I totally agree. I think that the plaintiff thought it would help his case to have a little bit more destroyed of a costume than
drama.
Maybe it was, and doesn't look good for him.
Actually, I thought that what was sent, the boots were substantial. There's no question that he dislodged the soles from them before he came here. The belt was a really substantial belt. What he was complaining about was a piece of Velcro.
And it's a costume belt. Velcro comes off the clasp.
Yeah, and you put it back on.
You just super glue it back on.
Absolutely right. There was clearly $1,000 worth of work that went into that costume and putting it together with the boots and the belt and the glove. And it was really sort of outrageous that he didn't pay it. Anyway, made my life easy, besides the fact that he was a nudnik.
Case 2135, Coleman versus Washington. All parties, please step forward.
Koana Coleman is suing caretaker Jessica Washington for stolen money, travel costs, and elder abuse.
Miss Coleman, how old is your mother?
90.
Do you live with her?
I do.
How long have you been living with her?
3 years.
You're her primary caretaker?
Yes, ma'am.
She suffers from?
Dementia.
For how long?
I identified it in December of 2019. And I just stayed from that point on, sleeping on her couch.
At some point, you had to go out of town for a period of time.
Yes.
You hired the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get to her?
My cousin Andrea was friends with her, and she said that she would be a great candidate.
Did you interview her?
I spoke with her later on. She came by the house, and...
What date did you first speak to her?
Maybe about a day or two before I left.
And on what date did you leave?
The 11th of August.
How long were you going to be away for?
About 7 days.
And tell me, Miss Washington, are you employed now?
Yes, I am.
By whom?
Well, I do self-employment, and I also have my own little business on the side as well, you know, caring for elderly people.
Okay. Did you have any special training for the care of the elderly?
I got my AED and my CPR. No, not really, because basically I've been just dealing with family members.
For how long?
I'm going to say at least like 5 years.
And you had no special training for the care of the elderly? Okay, and did you explain that to the plaintiff?
She knew that.
Don't tell me what she knew. I didn't hear of her mother.
August 11th, it was Miss Coleman and her mother.
And the arrangement that you made with her was for 7 days, and you would be living with her mother?
For 7 days.
And what was she to pay you for the 7 days?
We never discussed a payment.
Well, this is what you were doing for a living, and you had jobs for the last 5 years. Is not an answer. Yes is the answer. And when you work for other people who you'll tell me about, what did you charge them?
I didn't really charge them anything. That's why I'm saying me and her never discussed a price, because she didn't know if I was going to charge her or not. Because I could have watched her mother for nothing, just because. That's family.
Okay. Well, this is what the case is about. You watched her mother for 1 day, and then you left. And according to her, her mother fell. When you left, after the 1 day, she had left $400, and you took the $400. That's what she says when you left. Your answer is that you earned that $400 in the 1 day. That's why you took it. You have a counterclaim because she has said to someone that what you did amounted to elder abuse. Now, you started on the 11th. Tell me when you left.
The date that I left was August 12th at 4:30 in the morning because I was put out.
Who put you out?
Her cousin Andrea, which is my godmother, because I called her to help me pick her mother up off the floor, which her cousin told me to leave.
No, you can't tell me what anybody else told you. Prior to 4:30 on the 12th, did Miss Coleman's mother suffer a fall?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And where did she fall?
She fell on the floor. She was sitting at the table where I was sitting at as well, too. I got up to use the bathroom.
At 4:30 in the morning?
Mm-hmm. We was up all night.
Could you tell me why?
Because she was waiting for her daughter to come back, because before her daughter left out the house, being as though that the lady has dementia and Alzheimer's, they think about the future, the past, and the present. She's thinking that her daughter is coming back because her daughter said, I will be right back. So that's why she sat up all night long. I was trying to put her to bed. She didn't want to go to bed, so I called.
Okay, so you were there from what time in the morning on the 11th?
I got there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the 11th.
So you were there for a little less than 12 hours, right? You came at 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
on
and
the
at
11th.
4:30, and at 4:30 in the morning, you left.
I didn't actually leave. I was told to leave.
But you left.
Yeah, and I didn't want to.
I don't care whether you wanted to or not. It's not particularly relevant whether you wanted to or not. I understand what happened. You left, and when you left, you took the $400 that you found.
Because the mother told me to.
You mean the mother with dementia and Alzheimer's?
Yes, her mother told me.
Just a second. You mean the mother with dementia and Alzheimer's who you stayed up with 4:30 in the morning told you to take the $400? Okay. Now you're suing her for a lot more than the $400 because you said you had to come home from your travel. She's not responsible for that. She has to return the $400 to you. You told me 2 minutes ago, Miss Washington, that you never discussed fee.
We did.
Because this is not a question and answer. You didn't even know whether you were going to charge her anything, because as far as you were concerned, it's family. Is not an answer. And you listened to the woman that you had been hired to care for because she has dementia and Alzheimer's and had fallen, and she said to you, take this $400, it's yours. What if she told you to take a piece of her jewelry? Would you have taken that?
No.
Yeah. You would have taken it because she gave it to you.
Because I'm not no thief. I wouldn't.
No, that's not what I'm telling you. You say that you took this $400 because this woman who can't make a judgment told you to take it. What if she said to you, I want you to have my pearls? Why not?
I'm not taking no jury because I have my own. I don't need her jury.
Okay, that's ridiculous. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $400. I'll take a look at the instance that you have on your counterclaim for slander when she says that you are guilty of elder abuse. What do you have to show me?
It's in a court order.
What do you mean it was in a court order?
It is. She went and filed elder's abuse on me, plus the traveling expenses, too. I have that court order.
Just a second. Is that what you're telling me? In her case against you for the $400 and for any other travel expenses, which I'm dismissing, that part of her claim, she said you were guilty of elder abuse. That's protected. Okay, your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
I think the judge did a great job. I assumed that she would be able to deal with my mother. It's difficult being a caregiver, and we as people need to do much more to protect our elderly.
We've seen a couple of these cases, and it's so unfortunate to see the elderly, and whether they're ill or sick or mentally not capable of caring for themselves anymore, zero training that some of these people have to really care for them. And it's scary. We've seen it too many times. And $400 on the counter to someone to just take it for 12 hours worth of work.
You know, it's always struck me as a shame that society has and the government has created situations where you need licenses to do certain things. You need a license to tweeze someone's eyebrows. You have to be a cosmetologist. You have to have a license. You have to go to school. You have to pass an exam. You need a license to have a dog. But the most vulnerable people in the population, those people who, as she said, she didn't know whether her daughter was coming back or not coming back. She said she'd be right back, so she was waiting up for her. That vulnerable person, when it worked to the defendant's advantage, said, well, she was perfectly capable of saying to me,
take the money.
Take the money.